why triggers are there. That means what exactly triggers do for us. Let's take an example first. Imagine you have a bank account and every time you make a deposit or withdraw, your account balance is updated. A trigger is like an automatic alert that makes sure the account balance changes whenever you deposit or withdraw money, isn't it? So let's take another example to clear the concept. For example, you run a shop. You want to keep track of every time a new product is added to your inventory. You can create a trigger that automatically logs this information into another table each time a new product is added to the main product list. So in the similar manner, when we talk about triggers in Microsoft SQL Server, triggers act like that. For example, if you want to track the information of a new employee for a given company who has joined, or you want to update something, or you want to delete, that means triggers can be activated on the basis of these three things: insert, update and delete. That means whenever you do something on a particular table, automatically some event should be occur. When you are, we will take an example and we will see practically how triggers are there. But for example, I take an example of a company. There are, you can say, thousands of employees, and every day one employee or two employee or 10 employees are added, and maybe some employees are out of the company now, or they have left the company. So every time the transaction is there, the insertion, the updation, the deletion. And now I want a method that whenever I insert a particular employee into the table, automatically a log should be there. Audit log means that it should take the record count, and it should keep track of the how many number of employees I have inserted. Like I have given you the example of a shop. You want to enter the new product, how many new products you have entered. So whenever an operation like insertion, updation or deletion is occurred in a table, automatically the trigger should be fired. So how we can implement it with the help of MySQL or SQL Server or Postgres, because all the relational database are almost same, but in Microsoft SQL Server we can work like this. So create trigger name. As you are creating a data for the table or for the database, you have to use a create table, like create trigger. Then on table, on which table you are want to make the trigger. After instead of insert, update and delete. These are the four options you can work on. Then you have to start with the as clause. Then you have to start with begin and end. That is the end of the block. Inside this begin block, you will write the SQL statement to execute when the trigger will fire. That means whenever you insert something or delete or update, you have to put that statement here. So whatever you do here, it will be always related to that trigger will fire automatically. That means whatever I'm doing something on some table, it will trigger the event. Like events are in other programming in like JavaScript, events are there. So events are the things which are automatically invoking whenever we are doing some actions. So let's see this in a practical way. So I have opened my SQL Server. So this is my Microsoft SQL Server. So for example, for your convenience, so I have used one database. For example, I create instead of creating a new table, you can use a current table or current database which you have already, and you want to make a trigger on it. So how you will make a trigger on it? So you will use the database first. So for example, there is a one database in my current system, that is my database. So I will use this and I'll create the table according to it, and I'll make sure that audit table is again. So this is the thing. I'll just click here. So I have used the current database, and then I have created a table employee with the employee ID, as you have already done this in earlier classes. So audit log is there for the keeping track of your trigger. Whatever trigger we are going to create, this audit log table will keep the record of that. So this is an employee table where employee ID is as it is. We have already done this. So name will be there, position will be there. You can put any position like manager or somewhere, whatever you want to put. Then create table, audit log is for track of the record, that whatever trigger will be there, it will be inserted into this table automatically. This is the, you can say, magic of a trigger. So if you execute, see this, my database is a database here. I'm putting a use command, because without use command I can't use this database. So I need to execute this first, so I just select it and I execute this. And if the query is okay, I'll mistakenly open the this one, so I just select the command, I execute, click, and when it says command completed successfully, that means this is okay. So now I have to select the whole thing here. See, in Microsoft SQL Server you have to put selection like that. So now what you will do, you will just click on execute. If the command is right, then it will say command execute successfully. Now you will be able to see on the tables window. If you refresh it, then it will visible to you. So this is a, you can say, my database. Now I will be refreshing the data because I have created employee data, so it should be there in the table field. See, now I'm able to see this. Now I'm again using this command. I need not to waste your time on typing, because these things you have already learned in the previous lecture. So create table name, then this is a new thing here, this identity 1,1 you have learned in the previous classes. This is the auto increment. This is a starting position and this is a step value. What you want auto increment, that means it should be 1 2 3 4. In the similar manner you can put different values also. So now you create this table like this, you just select it and you will execute it. So this is a table, so it's saying that command completed successfully. Then I again refresh it, and this time I just click on it and I just try. See, every time you will not find it like that. You need to refresh it every time, so that you will get the actual data, whatever the data is there. Now you will click here and you will see whether I'm getting the data. So I'm not getting the data even though, so I'll just refresh it again. Then I try to refresh, then I click on this, then I click on the my database, then I need to click on the tables, and see, now beautifully these two tables has been created. Okay, one table is for the actual information, actual employees data and all, and another is the use for track of the record with the help of triggers. This is the table which we will create, but it is a blank table. In this we will not put any information manually, but in about table we will put. So whenever we put some information, because I'm creating a trigger on insert, so I'll show you how insert will be implemented in trigger. So whenever I insert something, it should be trigger in this table. This is our actual example what we want to do in triggers. So let's begin. So what we have to do, so we created two tables, now we want to create our trigger. So how we can create? As we have done earlier, the trigger command is with the help of what? Create trigger. So as we saw, so we will just type it as it is, just we will put the command as, we will say create. You can put in a caps or small, that is your choice. So either there is no, if you want it should be the zoom level, then you can put it in a caps. That is no worry with the MySQL or any other RDBMS or SQL Server. You can put in a small, you can put in a capitals. But when there is a concept of no SQL like MongoDB, that are the case sensitive, you have to always remember that. So create, now you will say trigger as it is. So trigger is a keyword, so you need to put it as a trigger. Now you will put the name. For example, you will say log entry or whatever you want, that is your choice. The name is your choice. So I'm saying it's a log entry. And the second thing is where I want to put. I want to put on which table. I have to put on the employees table. That is my current table that is already created. So it will be, spelling should be the same, whether small, whether capital, that doesn't mean. So it's EMPLOYEES. So we just created on employees table. So now it is showing what we have to do after that. After that, I want, when after inserting something, okay, before that I just want to show you something. So in my table there is no data. I have not created. You can create 10 15 records or 2 records or 3 records, but in my table I can show you there are no records. So I just say select star from what? The table name is employee. I have just created. So employee is a table name. Every time you need to select it. If you just execute this query, you will see the table is blank. Employee ID, name and position is there. Now if you want for the second table, which was the second table which is blank, which is for the triggers, I want to fire the trigger and the action should be on that table. So that is a which table? Audit. I'll say audit log. Yes, automatically, this is the beauty of the intelligence. So now if I double click here and I just try to select this one, I just select the whole thing and I execute it. Yes, see, log ID, employee ID, action and log date. So it is not showing anything. So that means both the tables are blank. Now I want to create a trigger, which is what? Whenever I insert something on employee, the automatically a track of the record should be on the which table? audit log. That means I'm not putting anything on audit log, but trigger will do the action for me. That means it will automatically fire whenever I create some action. So I'm creating that. So create, now we are going with it. So create trigger, then I say log entry is a name for the trigger, and we will see how it is there in the you can say in the employee table will be there. So now I'm saying create trigger, log entry is the name of the table, on which table, that is employee. Now I'm saying what I want after insertion, that is a insert command. I want something on after insert. What I want, I need to put as is the, you can say, class for it. We need to mandatory put it as, and we have to begin with the statement. Whatever I want to write the code, we have to write in the class of begin, and it should be end with the semicolon. And now inside this, what I want whenever I insert something, so whenever I put after insert, that means if I insert on an employee table, what should be done? It should be done what? Insert into. I say insert into is a option, and I say we have to put on what? Audit the table which is blank, audit table, that is a for keeping the track record. And now I am putting some data for it. Which are the data? Employee ID is, we want employee ID, and some, for example, if I want some action, that means the message or something, whatever we want, and some date, that is the employee date, the joining date of the employee, or you can put any label on it. Now what do you say? You will enter here. You can select the you can repeat the command, but it is better to put in a part so that it is easily understandable. So select, what I am saying, select this. I can put any name here. I can put inserted, I can put anything, I can put new. This is basically a temporary table, or you can say a table which is used for special table, which is used for storing the data temporary, for which we are going to take. So new dot, I am putting again employee ID. I want that employee ID, and what I want second thing on that table, I want a action, that is I say new employee is added. For example, I want this message, that means it should be trigger, and the current date, and I know the function is get date is a current function, so I'll put it like this, and that's it. This is one thing. And now there should be one more thing that is called as from, because this is a select statement. So we have to create a new means any special type of table which is used for holding the data for, like alias we have used an optional thing with. So we have to just use a name, a simple name, a virtual name which is not existing anywhere, but we are just treating as that everything is on that particular thing. So new dot employee ID. So 3 columns will be added on employee ID, that employee ID which I have inserted. See, after insert, it is saying after on which? On employees. So now these are the things which I have already did it. So it is showing something, because maybe I have used earlier also the same names and all. No, don't worry about it. So now what is next? We have created everything. What we have created the trigger name, we have created on employee, we have created after, we as begin. So one and one you have to type it like that. So when you type it like that in a proper manner, like first you have to create the trigger name, then you have to put on which you are putting, then what the action you are going to, and what you want to put on the new table where the trigger should be there. So now you will execute it and you will just put it like that. Maybe there can be some, see what is the syntax here, it's saying semicolon something in the line number 8. So we will just check it again. It's saying create trigger, it's the same thing which we were saying, create trigger. Then I have used the on, okay, on employees. Then I again check it after this as begin, and then insert into audit log is a table name, that's great. Then employee ID is again action, this sometimes it happens with the things, new employee ID comma new date, I have put this, then comma, then this from, okay, that's done. Okay, now just I want to configure from this, if I have put the same thing. Now just when I execute it, now I just want to run. Now I just try it with the thing, it should execute. So it is saying command completely successful. So that means now my trigger is, my mistake was what? I have put semicolon, because semicolon should be at the end of the statement. Now okay, we done with the trigger, we have created the trigger, but what is the purpose of this trigger? What trigger did it? It is saying that okay, query executed successfully and all. First we will see where the trigger is. We will click on the table and we can click on the particular table where the trigger has been. So we will click on this employee and we will click on the trigger here, and we will say okay, yeah, I have created the trigger, that's the name log entry. now the time for the action, the time for the thing what I want to really work with the triggers. So what was the thing, what was the actual thing, what was the thing? That was we have to insert something on, then it should be fire. So I say insert into. As I told you, both the tables are blank. Insert into, where I have to insert? I have to insert into employees. And this time when I say insert into employees, then employees has which type of values? It has employee ID. Okay, if the auto increment is there, see, we can see there is a auto increment. No, it is not there. So we need to put auto with the values employee ID, then comma, and the value for it, that is name, comma, the position. What was the tag for it? It was position. So close it here and then say values, and then the actual values you want to put, the value for the one, then the name of the employee you want to add, and then the designation, that is a position of the employee, for example manager. Now when we execute this query will be executed, and automatically we will see trigger has been fired in the background. So we will execute it. If the command it is showing that one row affected, that means our query is okay. Now what is the main purpose of this? We want to see how trigger has been fired. We have seen the trigger is there in the particular table where we have created it in the employed table as earlier also. So if we click here, the table, the trigger is there, but this is not the thing that we have to see the trigger. We have to just make what is the purpose of the trigger. Now we want to see what is the purpose of it. We have inserted a one record into the employee. Earlier employee table was empty, and the audit log table was also empty. So we want to keep track with the help of triggers. That means whenever I insert something here, and automatically trigger should be fired. So for that, what we will go with, here, and we will just use select star from, and as we have a table that is employees, we will check it again with for the display. Earlier it was blank. It will execute. Yes, it is showing employee ID, Swati, and manager. Now the second table was, if I try to put it like this, and the table is audit log. I just want to see the magic of triggers. Now I just execute it and I make sure the log. Earlier I must have inserted one log ID. I maybe in some value one record I have inserted. That's why the log ID is showing your log ID is 2 and employee ID is 1. If I insert one more times, for example, the second employee journey, and I say that person name is, for example, any name, randomly name I'm taking, this is the Annie, and this is the person who has joined as an assistant manager. Now I just execute this query and execute it. It will show one row affected again, as it will be here. We have done the command previous also. So there are the 2 records. Now the log will be 3. There are the 3 because earlier, before when I was creating the this table, one time it will be log 1, second time I have applied, that is 2, and now this is my third record. The first record I have deleted first, then 2, for the practice purpose I have shown you that we can insert it in this way. So now we will execute it and we will see there will be the log number 2 and log number 3. Why the log number 1 is not there? Because earlier I have inserted for the practice purpose, and now I have deleted you because I want you people to show the fresh thing about the triggers. So this